Welcome back to my channel. This is just a quick read for you, Libra. Whatever the current energy is right now, so the cards laid out as advice is your advice is just to remain still. There's something that you need to step back from and just take a moment before moving ahead. So there might be some acquired information or something that you need to do to just slow down. And, by doing so, you're kind of mending bridges. You're stepping away from a situation where you can look at things objectively. You can breathe. You can go within. This is about listening to your inner voice and just taking some time for you. I do feel like this is where you're connecting or reconnecting with your higher self, with yourself, with your inner self. And it's just about taking the time to sort of incubate things and really think it out before moving forward. So the card is, again, stillness, think things through before acting, and it definitely does speak to being able to expand again once you've actually been able to undergo a little bit of self-analysis and so on. But looking at the situation from a more objective point of view. So moving on to the next card, and the next one here speaks to freedom. So the card of freedom with this deck, and this one is the Denise Lynn Sacred Destiny Oracle. Love it. This particular card references, freedom found through things that relate to your happiness, things where you feel you can express yourself, anything where you can start to adjust yourself in a way that allows you to expand. So again, you're sort of harnessing your inner power at this point, and it does speak to, just carefully figuring out your steps to move toward a more freeing, expansive lifestyle. It does feel like it is more of a solitary journey at this current energy, and it certainly does speak to looking at things objectively, standing above the situation, but still being free to, to express yourself and dance and explore, do anything that's going to make you feel like you're playing a little bit more here. You're stepping outside of boundaries, things that you feel like you've been trapped in. Again, this is the advice. Just look for supportive community, those that, anything that allows you to feel like you are enhanced in some way. We also have the card of truth, and of course this is sort of finding your own truth, seeking a truth, something that's going to allow you to move ahead, but it's like you're waiting for something to be revealed, and it does speak to that from the other cards as well to me. But it does feel like there's a bit of a void in your life at this time. Things are not, very not as clear as they should be for you to be decisive enough to make decisions. It feels like you're feeling a little bit of lack, and it's almost like you need some kind of cleansing or renewal. Anything that's going to help you to feed your soul, that kind of thing. It feels like there's sort of barren territory here where you don't actually have all of the things that sort of feed your landscape, feed your mind, feed your body. So I feel like this is where you're really trying to focus, and it is also connecting to your higher purpose. I heard something too, actually, in around, I was actually talking about, I'm going to say this wrong. I'm better writing it than I am speaking it. But anyway, it's more along the lines of putting yourself through kind of a time shift, a quantum mechanic time shift. So they were actually referencing something in another podcast where they were talking about, how Costco has changed the name, and it's almost like there's a time shift that goes on there. It used to be COS, now it's the COST, CO, that kind of thing. And it's like looking up and you see certain things change. They also made a reference to I guess it was Fruit of the Loom, and how there was sort of a cornucopia basket that used to be sort of the logo and that kind of thing, and everything's been changed over. But when they had addressed it with the company said, no, it's always been like this. And so it's almost like you can within this time frame, you can also shift into a higher frequency or a higher gear, sometimes through lucid dreaming. But if you're doing it in a meditative sense, it's where you're still able to breathe and be in touch with things, but you're getting your answers through sort of a lucid meditative state. So again, sometimes just meditating on things will bring the answers because it's more of a quantum time shift. It's a reality shift of sorts. So something you might want to look into. We also have inner peace, and this is also about, looking for something. Obviously, there's been some lack in that area, and I feel like you just want to relax and go into a space where you're either close to water or nature or something that gives you a certain level of peace, whether this is swimming or whatever. I mean, these are all things that can kind of shift your body and your mind into a more enlightened or tranquil place. There's also a space here for planning, and doing a lot of planning means you have to transcend your fears and breathe deeply and know, breathing light into the spaces where you feel levels of lack or blockage. And as I said, working through those things will help you to simplify your life and bring about some level of peace. There is also a sense of going after what makes you happy. This is where the advice lay again, where you're in that space where you're trying to move past chaos and all of that and go forward. And of course, this is where you find yourself where there is a certain level of things starting to change from dark cycles to light cycles. It's definitely where you're starting to see your own divinity. You're starting to see hope or joy in a situation. You're feeling a little bit more hopeful about a scenario here and in finding your own truth, whether this is goodwill bestowed upon you or there's more positive frame of mind around you. It is something that's starting to expand, and I feel like because your mental space and your peace, inner peace, you're starting to tap into those areas. This is also where you're starting to see something flow through you as much as it is starting to come into you. So there is a gateway that's opening here. So that's what I have as a quick little advice bit for you, and hopefully that gives you a little bit of inner peace as the current energy.